Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we talk about healthy relationships from a Muslim lens. I'm Zahra Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and let's get started.
All right, so we're just gonna get started right into it.
We get
All
started.
right. So this question is coming from a young lady via the Muslim Marriage subreddit. She asks, why aren't the potentials interested in me? A fair question that I'm sure we have all asked ourselves. She says, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So, me, 23-year-old female, I have been on the search for a partner ever since February of this year. Since my only question as of right now, since my only options as of right now are Muslim marriage apps, it's been a struggle as I can't seem to find anyone who I am compatible with and can see something long term with. Anytime I am remotely interested in someone, they will stop responding to me or disappear. I've only gotten to the talking stages with most guys so far. I get told by many guys on there that I'm good at conversating, but they always end up losing interest and ignoring me. I always get told I'm very pretty, kind, have a great sense of humor, feminine, and all of that, yet they still lose interest in me. I recently met a guy who's a 24-year-old male who said I am ideally what he's looking for in a wife based off of our few conversations that we've had. He asked me if I wanted to be a housewife homemaker because he wanted one, and I've always been interested in being one. So I was excited to meet someone who wanted that as well. We've talked on the phone a total of 5 times, but I'm really getting the feeling that he's not interested or prioritizing finding a marriage partner right now. He doesn't talk to me on a daily basis through texts and prefers calling, so we have to plan to call each other. I'm someone with a more Islamic mindset than him, and he told me he wants a partner who can help him become more Islamic. He seems to be very busy all the time, but I feel like if someone is interested, then shouldn't they be consistent and talk daily with the potential? Him and I started playing a game called It Takes Two because he wanted to play it with me. We play online, and when we play, he doesn't really ask me any serious questions or seem that interested in me. He just says he enjoys playing with me and just focuses mainly on the game. I wanted to start asking him the serious questions the next time we talk, but right now he's on a trip with his family for a week and we probably won't be talking for the week. So, what are your thoughts?
I actually have two thoughts.
Okay, let's hear
Yes,
them.
indeed. The first one is that he's trying to find someone to help him become more Islamic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know exactly how I feel about that,
Okay. Yeah.
because if that was the case, he should let her take the lead.
Okay.
But he seems to be the one that's trying to dictate how they meet
Oh, I
and
see.
how they converse, by the way, not conversate.
I mean, yeah.
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 Second, it's it seems like the information she'd provided from all the other previous matches was surface level,
Mm-hmm.
uh, mooching, essentially. Like, guys may try to flatter the person because they might think that they get a more of a chance
Okay.
with them if they shower them with praises,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So she might have heard actual
Compliment.
praises that they may not have actually believed, but just said.
I see. So they might have just been complimenting her or making promises without intending on following through.
Yeah.
Yes, this obviously happens all the time, both via the men's side and also via the women's side. We've spoken about this a lot on the podcast, and we're repeating it or at least going through this question here again today because it's still the most common question that I get, still the most common concern, and still the place where people have the most difficulty when they're looking for a spouse is in discerning who is actually interested in you and who is actually not.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you that the people that she's been meeting, seem to have been saying what she wanted to hear. Um, and again, yeah, that's probably what was happening. If we go more specifically in her circumstances with this gentleman that she's speaking to now,
Yeah,
the one who she played that online game with, and
It
who's
Takes Two,
yeah, and
which has been popping off recently. A lot more people are starting to take note of it. So I think it's like a bounty.
what is it?
There's probably going to be a second version of it coming out, like a sequel.
Is it, like a card
It's
game?
a video game about a husband and a wife who are about to divorce,
Oh,
but their daughter, a young child, does not want them to divorce.
mm-hmm,
So she makes a wish, and then this book comes to life
mm-hmm.
and takes the mom and the dad into like this doll world that the
Okay,
daughter imagines,
okay,
right? And it's like them trying to just survive
mm-hmm.
and get out, and they end up trying to reconcile or whatever.
Oh, okay, that makes some sense. Based on the way that it was worded, I thought it was just a series of questions.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a video game, and the
Okay.
reason why he chose it was because perhaps he thinks it's a romantic video game that he can play with her in order to strengthen their bond.
Yeah, possibly. Okay, so if we talk about more in general, one of the most important steps of finding a spouse faster, right? Of course, you're gonna find it on whatever on the timeline that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala wrote for you. But if you want to at least save yourself from going through any extra talking stages or unnecessary talking stages, as someone who was on the apps for 2 years and has met so many different people, some of which were downright dangerous, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I now know. Look, if I knew then what I know now, I would have just met you and called it a day.
by the way, she got married to one of the dangerous ones.
Okay, I won't go that far. I won't say that. But what I will say is that yeah, so the key to saving yourself a lot of headache, a lot of exhaustion through this process is to avoid the people who are not for you. And one of the most common archetypes of people who are not for you are the ones who are actually not interested. So they will seem interested because they have something to gain from talking to you, but they're not actually interested.
Yeah.
And that's who this young lady has been spending time with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mistake. Now, if we go through her questions, she mentions a number of the hallmarks, right?
Yeah.
With the gentleman that she's speaking to herself right now, she said, "I'm really getting the feeling that he's not interested or prioritizing finding a marriage partner right now." So she already knows. And another thing that she mentions is that he seems very busy all the time, but I feel like if someone is interested, then shouldn't they be consistent and talk daily with the potential?
Not really.
It daily or
Daily is a bit clingy.
yeah, I honestly, it's going to be according to what's comfortable for the two individuals, right?
Yeah.
So there are people who feel comfortable with a lot less communication and
Mhm.
people who feel comfortable with a lot more communication. But and of course, it's assumed that any and all communication is in a halal manner,
Yeah.
right? In a halal setting with mahrams present, etc., etc. But the way that an individual can show their the fact that they're serious about the wanting to marry you is through the consistency of effort,
Yeah.
the consistency of communication.
Yeah.
Right? So if that consistency is dropping off, especially when you establish before that there was more consistent communication and you're now starting to see a drop off,
Mm-hmm.
that's a clear sign that this person, for whatever reason, is not interested in marriage right now.
Yeah.
That is a painful realization, hard to deal with for a lot of people, especially when it happens repeatedly, because it can touch on core wounds around self-worth, and rejection always hurts, right?
Yeah.
But hiding in the idea that maybe this might work out and let me continue trying is actually detrimental to you and wasting your time.
Yeah.
It's better to face the reality head on that, oh, okay, this individual is not interested. Let me go and find somebody who is, at the very least, interested as a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Before you start, you have to assess all the other things like compatibility, capacity, character, connection, all the things we talk about. At least start from a place that you're talking to somebody who is interested in marrying you.
I actually do have a foolproof plan
Oh,
to find out if you're interested in the other partner.
okay.
Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
before you call them,
Mm-hmm.
you need to score 4 3-point shots in a row. Right?
What kind of shots?
3-pointers.
Oh, you mean basketball
Yeah.
shots? Okay.
You need to score 4 of them in a row. 5 is too difficult.
Okay.
No one's going to attempt 5. And 3 is too easy.
Uh-huh.
But 4 is perfectly in the middle.
Okay.
And if you give up
Yes.
after hour number 5,
Okay. Okay.
then you're not interested.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. But that's you gauging your interest.
Yeah, exactly.
The question is, how do you gauge the other person's interest?
But once you gauge your own interest,
Yeah.
you just tell the other person, ta-da!
They'll be interested.
They'll gauge your interest based off of like if the next day you're like, so I couldn't score the 4 baskets in a row and I gave up, so this is it. Bye-bye.
It's
You know?
not gonna work out.
It's not gonna work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so if we tell people let's tell people something a little bit more concrete. So we've spoken about this before at length. And the episode that I recommend is the episode on the dating apps,
Mm-hmm.
where we've gone through in a little bit more detail. But just as a quick review, if you're a young woman, right, and you are trying to figure out whether this gentleman is actually and genuinely interested in you, and you're using the dating apps, the first place you can start to assess that is through his bio.
Yeah.
When you're taking a look at somebody's bio, if the bio is sparse or generic or obviously written by AI, then this individual is likely not interested in marriage to anyone in the first place. So first, I would take a look at the individual's bio. Secondly, when you're speaking to them and they're now in your inbox, if a gentleman is interested in you, he will let you know that he's interested in you by trying to impress you.
Yeah.
And 3 ways that he will try to impress you in the beginning is that, number 1, he will let you know that he read your bio, right?
Mm.
He'll try to get credit for that. Usually in an indirect way, he'll mention something from the bio.
Yeah.
But he wants you to know that, hey, I read your bio. Number 2, he will try to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Not everybody's funny. You might not laugh, but you'll get the sense that he's trying to make you laugh.
Yeah.
And number 3, he's going to speak about his accomplishments, the things that he's proud of.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have somebody in your inbox who's doing those things in the very beginning, it's a pretty clear indicator that this individual is interested in a genuine way, at least right now, in you.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, well, over time, how do I know? Like, what does interest look like over time, and lack of interest look like over time? Because sometimes it does fall off.
Yeah.
The way that you'll know that is through, number 1, consistency in communication, right? Consistency in communication. Number 2, they will never be inappropriate with you. They will never say anything inappropriate. They will never suggest anything inappropriate, or even subtly, because some people do that.
Yeah.
To try to test your boundaries and see what you will and will not accept. So he will never be in any way inappropriate with you because he respects you. If he's considering you to be his wife at some point in the future, this man respects you. And respect is all or none. Either you do respect someone or you don't.
Yeah. Exactly.
So he will never be inappropriate with you. Number 3, you'll just know. I know a lot of us coaches say this. I know a lot of counselors, therapists, content creators say this. We say this because it's true.
Yeah.
When somebody's intentions are crystal clear, they will make them known to you and you won't question them.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the same way that when I was going through the process, I questioned every single person except for you, because your intentions were 100% clear.
Yeah.
So then after it was completely clear that you and I wanted the same things, then it became a matter of assessing, okay, are we actually compatible?
Mm-hmm.
What is your character like? Do you have the capacity for healthy marriage? And what is our connection like? Assessing those things.
I may have as well lived in a library.
You did? Why? What is
I
that?
may have as well lived in a library because I was such an open book. You know
That,
what I found out?
yes,
When someone says "with all due respect," they
yes.
could still be insulting you.
Yeah, that's actually, they're usually insulting you.
Yeah, but like usually, like they'll say "with all due respect," you don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or things like that.
yeah,
But they could also mean "with all due respect" and you're due none.
yeah. That's what that means. Yeah, it's like bless your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those.
So if anyone you're ever talking to, for purposes of marriage or like dating or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and they say "with all due respect,"
Dating,
yeah, well, yeah, like the talking stage.
the talking stage.
Yeah.
We don't date.
What's the word?
We say talking stage or getting to know somebody for the purpose of marriage.
Beautiful. If someone ever says, "with all due respect," you stop them right there
Yeah.
and you say, "and how much respect is that?"
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You want to make sure they tell you
Yeah.
how much they respect you.
I'm gonna need a number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1 out of 10, with
Okay.
8 being the lowest you can go.
Oh my gosh. Actually, anything less than 10 is already too little.
Yeah, well, no.
I respect.
Anything less than 8 is too little.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can
Um,
reserve a little bit of respect for in the future. You might need to draw on it.
very interesting.
Yeah, what if someone does something undignified,
Yeah.
and then you need to borrow from the reserve?
That's food for thought.
I have 5 storages full of respect right now.
You do?
Yeah.
That's
I'm still waiting for you to slip up.
Jazaa K'Allah Khayr. That's very, very kind. I really appreciate that. All right. So I was a little bit flustered
You're causing an economic crash, by the way.
because of
I'm just keeping all the respect in the bank.
it's just you.
It's not circulating.
That's okay. So we will do the people a favor and recirculate the respect and get back to the question.
There
Yeah,
we are.
yeah. There we go. Get back to the topic. So speaking of interest, right?
Exactly.
So In Shaa Allah, that's clear. If you are a young woman, the way that he's going to show interest, when he first approaches you through the inbox, and over time. 1, 2, 3. Number four. The fourth way to know whether or not that this individual is interested is that the talking stage will progress. It will progress. Usually, the dynamic that is known and understood by both men and women, particularly in Muslim culture, is that the men are going to be the ones who try to push the relationship forward in terms of asking for whatever is the next stage. But the woman will be the one with her foot on the brake.
Yeah.
So you will be the one who decides how fast you get to the next stage.
Mm-hmm.
And you want somebody who's going to give you that leeway so that you move at a pace that you are comfortable with, right? That's a way of respecting your boundary. So you're going to, the relationship or the talking stage will progress at a rate that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But he should be suggesting what the next steps. So if the next step is to speak to your family, if this is somebody who's genuinely interested in marriage, he will bring it up. You don't really have to bring it up.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 ways.
Mm-hmm. The analogy I like better is security checkpoint.
Yes.
Instead of foot on the brake.
Yes.
Because if you bring the analogy of the brake, it assumes that the man's always trying to drive through.
Yes.
And you're the one actively pushing back. But a security checkpoint could have the man waiting for you to open the gate.
Yes.
Or they could have the man trying to push their way through.
I like that analogy. In fact, you're right. It's a better analogy than the brake one because he's the one who decides whether or not you move on.
Respect your wishes or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those are the 4 things that I tell young ladies to look out for. Number 1, is their consistency in communication, because that's how they can demonstrate that they're interested. Number two, is he maintaining respect? Right, the entire time, not some of the time, but the entire time. Number three, you'll just know, right? So if you feel that you are confused about his intentions or you're not sure about his intentions, most likely this is not somebody who's serious about you, right?
Mm.
And I would 100% move on, trust your instincts and move on. And number four, is the talking stage, is it progressing forward? Is it progressing forward, or does it seem like it's stalling, and or somehow he's suggesting obstacles or hindrances for why it shouldn't move forward?
Yeah.
So if it's progressing forward, that means likely he's interested in you. So those are the four indicators.
I think he is interested in her because he invited her to play a video game.
I genuinely don't think he is. I think that he wanted to play the game and didn't have anyone else to play with.
Oh no, he would definitely have someone to play with. Yeah, he would for sure. As a guy who plays video games,
Mm-hmm.
you would not feel comfortable inviting someone to join you in the video game unless you thought that there was long-term potential.
I understand that, but I don't know. I don't know how to. Let me try to articulate it. Because when it comes to when people ask me about their situation, hey, this is what's going on, this has happened,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think? Everything, it's very hard to come to a conclusion based on one or two actions.
Yeah,
I usually come to a conclusion based on a context, and she did a good job of providing context.
contextualizing it.
Yes,
Yeah.
in this situation.
Yeah, but then he'd lose that on the save file, you know? That's just a waste of time.
All right, on behalf of all women, that's upsetting, and I'm upset about that.
Yeah, no,
That he's upset.
That's the problem. It's like, I think it's got to be long term. Otherwise, what's the point?
The point. All right, so the time that he's wasting on the game versus the time that he's wasting in her real and actual life.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
People.
to him, they're probably equal.
All right, that's a whole nother level of frustration.
Do I need to draw on the bank?
Oh, a little bit.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. But if we go back to the context, and it's good that you said that, because it's a really good example that provides a lot of indicators that are here. So the first indicator is that she just knows, right?
Yeah.
Remember how we said you'll just know?
Yeah.
She just knows because she said at some point, so she said, but I'm really getting the feeling that he's not interested or prioritizing finding a marriage partner right now.
Mm.
So she knows that he isn't interested, and that's important. Another factor is that he isn't. Well, they've established between the two of them that they speak via calls, and he just isn't calling as often. Whatever way that was established in the earlier stages of talking stage,
It's dwindling down.
yes, it's falling off. So that's number one, where we said the contact needs to be consistent. Another that she mentioned is when it comes to the game, she gets the sense that they play online. I get the sense that they play online regularly, but when they play, he doesn't really ask her any serious questions or seem interested in her.
Mm.
So it's not really progressing beyond the game.
Yeah, I get what
Right.
you're saying.
Yeah, it's not.
Also, did he say that he was going on a vacation with his family
Yes,
and he wouldn't contact her until after?
that's the final one. That's the final one here in this situation. He's ghosting. He has no intent. Whether or not he is actually going on a vacation with his family, only Allah knows.
Mm.
I would guess that he's not.
In this economy?
Yeah, because another common scenario that a lot of people use is Ramadan is coming up. Let's talk after Ramadan, and then they just never hear from them again.
Which is a wild concept to use Ramadan for that purpose.
I cannot tell you how often that happens. This gentleman went with a family trip, right? A lot of people use work as an excuse. People find a lot of different ways to ghost, and the most common excuse that they use for ghosting is no excuse. They just stop talking, right?
There's no need to ghost anyone. You just tell them, hey, I don't like you anymore. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that would make things a lot easier, but
Yeah, just make it open and plain.
unfortunately, a lot of people don't have
They should actually use it as a job interview opportunity. Like
Yeah.
tell them what you don't like about the person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something that they want to improve upon, then they can for the next person over.
Some people do that, right?
Yeah.
So if you really want that information, you can always ask them.
Yeah.
But the reality is that people, I would say, I would venture to guess that the majority of the time, people who are online and meet you
Yeah.
through one of these apps, many of the time, if you get the sense that they're not interested in you early on, they were
Mm-hmm.
never interested in you, especially
Yeah.
if they persist in communicating with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you get the feeling in week 2 or week 3 that this person, hey, I don't really know what they want, but they still keep reaching out from time to time,
Yeah.
and now it's month 2, month 3, that person just wanted to get other things out of the interaction
Yeah.
that had nothing to do with marriage. Validation, reassurance. There's a lot of things that come from from companionship.
Yeah. There was actually some related stuff that I came across on the internet
Yeah.
about some people who would match with someone
Yeah.
and they would keep that person on the hook, on the line
Yeah.
for however long, just so that they can get that validation from it.
Yeah.
Right. And then when they see that person's moved on to someone else,
Mm-hmm.
they would reach out to them to try to hook them again.
Yeah. Usually, it's even if they don't see that they've moved on to someone else, it's really weird. It's like they have a sense that it's happened. I heard this from clients every time, and I've experienced this many times. When you and I got married, there were a lot of randoms texting me saying, "Hey, assalamu alaikum." I was just like, "Who's this?" So it's like people have a sense that a prospect is moved on or about to move on, but that's what it is for the young ladies, right? For the gentlemen, if you are speaking to a sister and you want to know whether or not she's actually interested in you, it's going to be a little bit different on your end, simply because the dynamics of the relationship or the talking stage are going to be different for men versus women. So on your end, number one, when with the communication, because you're the one who's going to be having to demonstrate that consistency in communication. You're the one who is going to be most likely initiating the communication. What you are looking out for in terms of communication is how responsive is she.
Yeah.
So if she is responding to you, in a time that makes sense, and especially if that time is consistent throughout your talking stage and is not falling off, so that if initially she was responding to you within an hour, but now it's been a month, you're a month in, and she's responding to you the next day.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
You want to wait until it's like a consistent pattern, however.
Yeah.
Not like a one-time thing. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I did. I get it. You're calling me out.
Yeah, but you never actually broke it off. It was like, say, safe.
I cannot tell you how close it came.
Yeah, safe.
But yes, but in general, if it's starting to fall off the responsiveness, then that's a sign that something might be off. Number 2, it's going to be for you to try to progress the situation, right? So it's going to be for you to try to progress the talking stage to the next steps, whatever the next steps are, in your case.
Yeah.
But if the way that you'll know that this young lady is serious is that she'll move at a pace that's according to her comfort, but it is moving.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not at a full standstill. So if you come to a point where you're ready to ask for her wali and speak to her walis, and you start to suggest that, like, all right, can you tell me about your dad? Can you tell me about your brother? What do they do? What are they like? I'd really like to talk to them, right? If she is just putting a stop to that conversation, is really trying to evade that conversation without giving you an explanation, that is a very good indicator that this person might not be serious.
Yeah.
Because somebody who is serious understands that that's why she's on the app. She knows that you're going to have to eventually speak to her father, right?
Yeah.
There are some women, and many of us, who want to vet ourselves before you speak to our family. So if she gives you a response like, definitely, right? Yeah, my dad does this, my brother does this. This is what their personalities are like. I'm sure you'd get along great with them. But their understanding is that I will vet first before you speak to them. So I'm just going to need a little bit more time to make sure we're compatible.
Yeah.
Like she'll give you a response like that to let you know that it's on the horizon.
Yeah.
But this is the reason why it's not coming. So whenever it comes to progressing towards the next stage, it might be moving a little bit slowly, but it is moving. It is moving. So that's the way that you'll know that she's interested.
There's a good analogy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are the sailors,
Mm-hmm.
and interest is the driving force of the relationship.
Relationship? Yo ho ho.
Ta-da!
That was a good one. I like that. And then the final indicator, similarly, is you'll just know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she'll, in the same way that you make it clear to her what your intentions are, she will make it clear to you what her intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might not be as verbal as others, but you will have a very clear and sense of what it is that's happening.
Yeah.
It's even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, a lady gives consent with her silence, right?
Yeah.
So the way that women give their green lights is going to be different from you. We're going to be less direct.
Yeah.
But you will know what it is. You'll know that this is something that she wants and wants to move forward with. You'll just know. If you find yourself confused, similarly, if you find yourself confused and you are asking me or checking the internet to see whether or not this lady is actually interested, she probably isn't. She probably
like
isn't.
I mean, like if she's not interested, she would object, and you would know the objection.
Yeah, exactly. So to summarize, to come to in general, the way to avoid unnecessary talking stages is to not talk to the wrong people. That's simple.
Yeah, exactly.
And the most common types of wrong people are the ones who pretend to be interested for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about 7 different archetypes when I'm coaching one-on-one with my clients. But for one reason or another, they're not interested.
Yeah.
And the way that you avoid that is by paying attention to see whether or not this person is genuinely interested. If you're a young woman, there are 4 different ways to gauge interest. If you're a young man, there are 3 different ways to gauge interest that we spoke about. Above all else, trust your instincts. You'll know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you know that I was interested in you?
Oh yeah, easily.
Was I that obvious?
You were responding to me.
Is that what it takes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a simple man.
Was I responding quickly?
You were actually, yeah.
Like how quickly?
To the point where I had misunderstood. You said Skynet, and I thought you were like Skype.
Yeah.
I downloaded Skype.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, this person's really interested. Wow.
Okay, so just for context, when you would reach out to me, I would respond within a couple minutes. Right? Like people ask me about that. Should I wait an hour? Should I wait a day?
Why wait?
Don't. I never recommend.
Why would you play mind games?
Don't do the waiting game. None of that will make any difference. I
Just
promise.
be straightforward.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay, so you responding immediately scares off the other person.
Okay.
Beautiful. They weren't meant for you. Different
agree.
types of personalities. You guys would not have meshed in anyways.
I 100% agree, which is why I just was myself. So when you reached out to me, I would respond right as soon as I saw it. I would respond right back. Right? There was no reason to make you wait.
Yeah.
It's not a game. It's not a game, right? But the only thing that I do suggest for women, this is not advice for men because again, the dynamics are different. What I do suggest for women for at least the first week or 2 weeks is to try to be in observation mode where you're paying attention to what this gentleman is doing unsolicited, unprompted, to gauge his interest. Because if you remember, number 1 of knowing whether or not a person is interested is his consistency in communication without your prompting. All right? So you just let him initiate. Right? Let him reach out. You respond and match his energy.
Yeah.
But let him be the one to initiate. Let him be the one to reach out. Let him be the one to suggest whatever the next steps are to progress the talking stage. You just sort of sit back and see what he does.
Beautiful strategy.
And pay attention.
Advice for the men: while they're in observation mode, make sure you're gathering resources, building up your armies, get ready to attack their base. They will lose instantly. She said it's not a game. She's wrong.
Yeah, we'll see who gets married. who it works out for, given those two different strategies.
Poetic justice.
Poetic justice, okay.
Yeah.
It sounds violent, but all right. I think that's it. I think we've covered that topic from every possible angle. I think this will be the last time we cover that topic. If anyone has any further questions about how to gauge interest, just reach out to me, either on our email support@zarahassancoaching.com, or write a comment in the YouTube or in any of the other podcast platforms, or reach out to me on Instagram, just wherever you see me on the internet. If you have questions specific to your situation, just let me know and I'll see how I can help you. Is there anything we missed?
That's everything.
Are you tired of this topic?
Not at all.
Not at all?
I could talk about this for another 15 years.
Okay, all right. That sounds like a threat. So we will just say Jazaa K'Allah Khayr if you, for spending this time with us. We really appreciate you. If you have found anything we said useful in this episode or any other episode, please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. It really does help us out. If you are a young woman and you are looking for a spouse and you are very confused about how to deal with the whole question of compatibility, I have created for you a free compatibility guide that is available for download in the description on YouTube or any of the podcast platforms. It's also on my Instagram page @ZarHassanCoaching. I believe that's everything.
That's everything.
Okay. So, you guys have a wonderful week. Jazaa K'Allah Khayr and Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.